Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fumi Monet, and if you're new around here, I am a skincare, beauty, and lifestyle content creator. And if you're not new, welcome back. I hope this video finds you well. Today's video is going to be a little walk down memory lane. I've spent a majority of this year revamping my fragrance collection, and a big part of that was going through fragrances that I don't wear or don't really love anymore, and kind of finding new fragrances to add to my collection. And so while I was going through my stash, I just started thinking about all the special memories and occasions and events that I've, attached to quite a few of the fragrances I've worn in the last decade or so of my life. So I wanted to share some of these fragrances with you, as well as some of the fragrances that I'm transitioning into for this phase of my life. So if that sounds good, please be sure to stick around, hit that subscription button, and let's get into it. For as far back as I can remember, I've always had a very positive relationship with fragrances. I think probably I say as far back as middle school, I've always worn some type of body mist or fragrance body cream. I know I wasn't the only one rocking the cucumber melon body spray and the vanilla sugar body creams from Bath & Body Works. I would say that my first designer fragrance was Daisy by Marc Jacobs. I remember because I think I was 16 or 17 and my mom let me go to the mall and pick out my first, real fragrance. And at the time, I just thought I was so grown up. It felt like I spent hours smelling every single fragrance until I decided on Daisy. But I just remember it was so precious to me. And I wore it on my birthday. I think it might've been my 17th birthday. I wore it for my birthday. I wore it for special events like homecoming or different dances at school. I never wore it to school directly because I thought it was just too precious for me. But it was a really nice fragrance that I associate with my latter high school years. And I do remember I also wore it for my high school graduation. So it did manage to stay with me for quite a bit of time. But I think that once I got to college, I started wearing stuff like Juicy Couture. I remember I had Viva La Juicy and I wore it out. Oh my gosh, I remember freshman year, sophomore year, anytime I would go out with my friends, I would wear Viva La Juicy. I don't have a bottle with me today to show you, but oh my goodness, my friends would love coming to my room and spraying Viva La Juicy. And I would remember sitting in the corner like, guys, I make $8 an hour. It's gonna take me 17 hours of work to repurchase that bottle of Viva La Juicy. But it made me happy, and I do associate that fragrance with going out, house parties, frat parties. Viva La Juicy wasn't a fragrance I wore a lot during the daytime per se, but I do associate it pretty strongly with my early college years. And not too long after that, I also got into Very Sexy by Victoria's Secret. I had a friend that wore it, and it just smelled so good on her. I remember the first time when we hung out and she had it on, I said, oh my God, what are you wearing? And I went and purchased a bottle of Very Sexy. And I think that was the fragrance it became my official date night fragrance. I don't have a bottle of Very Sexy with me either. It's been quite a bit of time since I've worn Very Sexy last, but I had the Very Sexy perfume, I had the Very Sexy body cream, I had the Very Sexy body mist. It was just, my life was just all about Very Sexy. And although, like I said, it's not something I wear per se anymore, I think that if I'm going into a date night situation now, I'm definitely wearing Hypnotic Poison. I think that Hypnotic Poison kind of gives me that same vibe that Very Sexy gave me, in that it's just a really very feminine, it's a sexy fragrance, honestly. This isn't a fragrance that projects very strongly, which is why I think it's really great for a date night, because it's kind of a fragrance that you want people to kind of get close to you to be able to enjoy. The longevity isn't great. It is an eau de toilette, but I do get at least 2 hours where it's projecting pretty moderately, and maybe 3 more hours where it's a skin scent. This is definitely one that if you're planning to wear it all day, you do want to have another one with you to reapply. But I would say the Very Sexy of my current phase of my life is Hypnotic Poison. Like I mentioned earlier, Daisy was a fragrance that I tried to wear for special occasions. And so when it came to things like a job interview or internship interviews or things like that, Daisy was what I reached for because I thought it smelled really light and fresh. And although I don't wear Daisy anymore, I think a fragrance that I would say is kind of my Daisy now, that really light, very fresh, just makes me feel very responsible. Fragrance is AVENTUS for Her by Creed. And I love AVENTUS for Her because it has that kind of citrusy, kind of woodsy vibe that Daisy had. It's a little bit sweeter as well. And AVENTUS is just, I would say it's the much more grown-up version of Daisy. It lasts so long. It just, like, anytime I spray it on myself, I can smell it for days if I spray it on a sweater. This is a fragrance that I love to wear, particularly in the summer and spring, but it does work for any time of the year, honestly. And it's a beautiful fragrance. Definitely one that I consider to be signature scent worthy. Like, I would say it's one of my signature scents. I do wear this more so to work. I don't necessarily save this just for special occasions anymore. I don't really feel like I need to do that. But yeah, this is definitely a fragrance I would wear for an interview or something else like that, because I think it's just it's not too loud that it would irritate the other person in the room, but something about it is very respectable. I've always been a huge fan of gourmands. I think that 15, 14-year-old me would be happy that even now in my 30s, I'm still a big fan of the vanilla, gourmand, edible fragrances. For myself, instead of reaching for maybe a Bath & Body Works vanilla body spray like I would have, I'm reaching for fragrances like Tom Ford's METALLIQUE. And I would describe this as, it's almost like drinking a vanilla milkshake out of a metal cup, honestly. That metal note, that metal accord gives it a really, like, very kind of edgy feel to it that elevates the, you know, just the regular vanilla notes in it. It's kind of spicy. I do really like METALLIQUE. I think this is really edgy and it feels like a very grown-up fragrance. I've layered it with different fragrances as well. I think it layers nicely with a couple of others that I really like. And another vanilla fragrance that I've just been loving is Absolute Aphrodesiac by INITIO. And Absolute Aphrodesiac I would describe as like a leathery vanilla fragrance. I think that it's definitely unisex. I had a friend that smelled this and she said she would like this on her man, but I think it smells great on me. So I think, you know, anybody could wear this and enjoy it. But in particular, if you are a fan of those vanillas, I think that this is soft and sexy, and that the leather gives it a little bit of a masculine edge that makes it just, I don't know, a little bit almost androgynous. Like, it's very, it's a really soft fragrance. I do find that I get really good wear out of this. I can spray this on and it does last all day. I would say I get about 3 to 4 hours of moderate projection. If I spray a little bit more, all it gives me is just a little bit more longevity, but this sprays great on clothing. And yeah, I love Absolute Aphrodesiac and METALLIQUE are two vanilla fragrances that I think that definitely a more grown-up option than my body mists and body sprays that I was using before. I actually want to double back because in my mid-20s is when I started to get a little bit more into the higher end designer fragrances. And I would say throughout my mid-20s to my late 20s, my signature fragrance was Flower Bomb by VIKTOR and ROLFE. And this is a new bottle that I got for my birthday from a friend. My friends just know I love Flower Bomb. Like, I think they all associate Flower Bomb with me at this point, but it's definitely a fragrance that really defined my mid-20s because I think, when did I get this? I think I got this towards the end, either the end of undergrad or the beginning of grad school, but oh my goodness, I just wore this so much. I liked it so much I couldn't save it just for special occasions. Like, I would wear this to class, I'd wear this on a date, I'd wear this on occasions, maybe to a wedding or a birthday. Several birthdays, I know, I definitely wore Flower Bomb too. And this was a fantastic date night fragrance as well, because I mean, people just always really seem to like it. It's that patchouli, and it's a very sweet fragrance. But I know a lot of people had beef with Flower Bomb because it did become really mainstream at some point. It seemed like everybody was wearing Flower Bomb and it was just everywhere. Personally, I don't really care if things are mainstream because, number one, I don't tend to run into people wearing the same fragrance at the same time as I do. And secondly, it smells good on me. So, I mean, I wouldn't stop wearing a fragrance just because other people are wearing it. Now, although I still love Flower Bomb and I always keep a bottle of Flower Bomb in my collection, I have the body cream as well. I had the body oil, and even the shower gel at some point. I would say that my signature fragrance now is definitely more along the lines of Baccarat Rouge 540. This is still a really sweet fragrance, but something about it is just a little bit more grown. Like, it just feels very sexy. I feel very confident when I have this on, and it's just a compliment magnet. Anytime I've worn this, there's never been a time when I've worn this that someone hasn't told me, you smell incredible. I feel incredible when I wear it. And I definitely think Baccarat Rouge is just a more sophisticated option for me at this point in my life, and I really enjoy it. But, you know, like I said, I'm always going to keep a bottle of Flower Bomb in my collection because I have a very soft spot for Flower Bomb. I have really a lot of very pleasant memories attached to Flower Bomb, and I definitely remember wearing Flower Bomb for graduation. I just couldn't think of a better fragrance than Flower Bomb. Another fragrance I wore a lot, especially when I graduated and I was working, was Almost Bare by Bobbi Brown. And I had to dig this out. This is basically empty. But I remember wearing this to work every single day. It was just my go-to work fragrance. I feel like it worked year round, but it really smelled especially good in the summertime and spring. And this definitely gives me kind of a suntan lotion, coconutty. I think there's some type of white floral in here as well. Really sharp, but really beautiful fragrance. And I got pretty good longevity from it as well. I have a lot of very pleasant memories attached to wearing this for my first job. But now I don't wear Almost Bare much anymore. My go-to work fragrance is definitely Mon Guerlain by Guerlain. And I love this. They don't smell anything alike, but it's my choice for an office fragrance. And this is lavender and this is vanilla. It's really soft, it's beautiful. I think it projects for at least 4 hours pretty decently, and then it becomes like a skin scent for the next like 3 or 4 hours. I just feel like this is a little bit more grown up. I think it just kind of fits my vibe a little bit better at this point in my life. But Mon Guerlain is a fragrance I recommend to so many people, and it's one that, you know, I think it's a very office friendly fragrance because it's not obnoxious. You know, you probably won't get more than an arm's length of projection out of it. You know, I don't think you're leaving a trail, but it's a very soft trail, you know, like you kind of have to put your nose to it a little bit. But I do love Mon Guerlain. As an honorable mention, another fragrance I wore so much is La Vie is Belle by Lancôme. I remember at one point when I used to work at a department store, like my boss would get this for me all the time because she knew I loved this. I always would get the biggest bottles, and this is the last of what I have left, but I have a lot of really fond memories attached to La Vie is Belle. I definitely wore this for quite a few date nights as well. This is a fragrance I'd wear out, you know. I'd wear this for date nights. I'd wear this for like birthdays, occasions. It felt a little bit too much for me to wear like as a daily fragrance, but this is definitely a fragrance I wore out. I used to go out a lot more in my 20s, so I was going out at least 3 or 4 nights a week, and La Vie is Belle is what I would reach for. I don't wear La Vie is Belle as much anymore. I think maybe I just did too much with it, and so I'm tired of it. But now my going out fragrance is the Lena exclusive. This is another fragrance I love to wear going out. It's rose, it's lychee, it's rhubarb, it's a little bit of woodsy notes. It's really sexy. It wears so nicely. It's one that I do get pretty good projection from. Leaves a beautiful trail. This is one that if you wear this to a party, people will be trying to follow you to find out what you have on. It's really feminine. It's really sexy, and it's definitely, I think, a better option for me now than La Vie is Belle, which, like I said, I think it's a nice fragrance, but I think I just wore it too much because now I'm tired of it. I'm just really happy with my new fragrance choices, and I'm always going to have very fond memories attached to the fragrances I did wear. Like I said, I do have a couple that I keep around for nostalgia's sake, but let me know down below if you have any fragrances that you used to absolutely love and some of the special memories that you have attached to fragrances as well. One thing I love about fragrance is how personal it is and how being around certain aromas can really trigger, you know, some memories that you have associated with each one. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you enjoy this type of content, please be sure to hit that subscription button as well as the notification bell. That way you can know anytime I have any new videos. Additionally, you can find me on Instagram. I'm Fumi Monet. My social media handle is the same across all platforms. I did try to make it easy for you. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see y'all next time.